looking pretty thick. How's it not having to make the grueling cut down to 170? Because I know right now you'd be measuring your macros and counting the calories and the amount of carbs you were taking in. How does your body feel for not having to do that?
I think there's just like a spring in my step. So like getting to this point now, I really wouldn't want to be in the gym not because I don't like it there, but because of the weight cut. Because I know I'd have to come on such low foods and I'd have no energy, but then I'd still have to go through a grueling session. So like I think now to explain it best is like a spring in my step. So like, you know, I'm eating well. I haven't wanted to like bulk up, and I've got a little bit bigger, but I wanted to stay around what I'd walk around at for welterweight and then cut that to, you know, middle few kilos. So I just think there's a little bit more of a spring in my step. There hasn't been a day in this fight camp or even before where I've come not wanting to train because of past experiences. Like there's days where you're tired and you think I'm gonna have to get through this, but it hasn't. It's been for a different reason. Whereas the past 4 weight cuts were just all revolved around like the weight, and Colin's lit off me as well a bit. Like, you know, Colin would be hard on me 24 hours a day, you know, obviously because he wants me to make weight, but Colin knows I know what's needed for fights, and he knows I put the hours and the work in. So Colin's just been letting me turn up, and he knows I do my extras, you know, after every session I'll run and stuff like that. So it is a little bit of a weight lifted off my mind.
And you say that you don't want to bulk up too much.
No.
A lot of fighters do make that mistake when they move up. Like I think Luke Rockhold kind of made that mistake when he moved up. Is speed going to be the key? Is this what you're looking for against Kelvin? Because obviously he's quite small middleweight, and he used to be a welterweight like yourself.
Yeah, I think if I can match these these middleweights strength and size with speed, I think that gives me an advantage in that area. You know, I'll be faster than most, but Kelvin was a welterweight himself, so he's obviously already got the speed from that. So if I can carry on my speed and that from welterweight and movement, you know, I'm going to be faster than a lot of these guys. So it's never mattered to me. Colin said to me once about any man over 70 kilos should be able to defend himself against any other man, and I agree with that. So it's not necessarily about size and strength to me, it's about technique and speed, and that's what we're working on, and you know, to not make this, you know, just to go in there and have a good fight as well. That's what I want.
And obviously when I first met you a couple of years ago, you talked about wanting to fight at the biggest stages in combat sports. You're going to fight at one of the meccas, like the mecca of combat sports, Madison Square Garden. How does it feel to be coming in and landing there, where the venue where Muhammad Ali fought Joe Frazier, and so many great boxing fights have happened?
It's just surreal, especially as well that the main event is a former opponent. A lot of people have asked me as well, what do I think of that? And you know, truthfully, from the heart, deep down, not one bit of like jealousy or being a green-eyed monster there. Is just pure, you know, I'm happy for Masvidal that he's got that main event spot, and it's true 100% from me. But you know, I'm there still coming, and you know, the card is the trash cans and the posters round New York has got my face on as well. So you know, it's like a joint venture there. And I don't really know what to say. It's sort of like a ride at the moment. I'm not being able to say, even with the losses and the wins, it's just like this one mad ride. Like since 2017, the start getting back fighting in Sweden, you know, from a 2-year layoff, I don't really know what's going on in my life right now. It's just, you know, main event here, main event there, fighting this guy. I don't really know what to say. I think I'll probably appreciate it more when I haven't got it. I think that's what a lot of guys do. I don't think they really appreciate. I don't feel like I'm appreciating the moments as I should be now. So I feel like in a few years I will really sit back and appreciate, and I want it all there. You know, in a few years I want it to still be about this now. But I'm just going through this ride, and I'm enjoying it. I really am.
Kelvin possesses high knockout power, like yourself, heavy, intense style.
Sorry.
Did you?
It's freezing. Yeah, freezing, mate.
Yeah, Kelvin possesses heavy knockout power, has a high intense style like yourself.
Yeah.
Did you expect to always end up throwing down with him, and what have you made of his career so far?
I don't, you know, obviously the way the fight got made, but a lot of people keep saying about me having like big bollocks taking this fight, and I don't see it like that. Like where I come from and how, you know, how we train and how I am as a fighter mentality is, I'm here to fight the best, win or lose. I'm here to fight all these you know, these tough fighters. I don't really understand the concept of the easier path or the easy fights. If that's what you want, maybe you should look at another career. You know, I'm coming off 2 losses and probably taking one of the most riskiest fights, not even in the middleweight division, in the whole of the UFC. So, you know, I can't say enough about Kelvin. I've got respect for him, but I'm going in there to prove my worth against him.
And you mentioned win or lose there. In a recent interview with BT Sport, you said, you know, if I do lose, so what? A lot of fighters won't even address the idea of the possibility of a loss. Do you think you doing that completely frees you up as an athlete in there?
Listen, you know, I may well lose. Could be another knockout. There's nothing really to say about that. Either it is or it isn't. If I know what I'm good at and I do it, Kelvin won't touch me. He won't. He just simply won't lay a glove on me. But then it could go the other way, and he could be victorious on that night. We'll just have to see. But yeah, you know, if it's a 3rd loss, you know, at least I didn't take the shitbag route. You know what? I'm fighting the best, and I'm taking all the day. And I tried to convince not to take the fight, and I just was like, why? So, you know, if it's another loss, which it won't be, so what?
You've said if you win, you want the Anfield fight after that. Do you think, even though it's not been confirmed, do you see this fight as a #1 contenders fight for the middleweight belt?
Do you know what? I couldn't care less about the middleweight belt right now. I really couldn't. I just couldn't care. Whatever happens with Israel and Costa, whether Israel wins or loses, if I win against Kelvin, I feel like that's the fight to make Anfield. You know, and
regardless of the title fight, though, is Anfield just a legacy moment for you?
Yeah. Whether the title's there or not. Listen, let all these top middleweights now that they have earned their right, let them chase the belt. I'm chasing something different right now. The belt will come within time. I've got to be very patient. I'm only 26. I'm co-main event in MSG. You know, I've got a lot of years left to give.
The way you carried yourself at welterweight was very imposing, because you always talked about making yourself seem bigger than you are in terms of your posture. Looking at you now with the added mass, do you feel like you're the most physically imposing man at middleweight?
I'd like to think so, yeah, but right now I just haven't really. I think the only thing I've been thinking about at middleweight is I wanna stay like a welterweight without the cut. So keep everything the same, keep me training the same. You know, I did recently start lifting weights, but when I say lift weights, it wasn't really lifting weights. I told the trainer, I said I don't want to get big. I said I don't want to be strong. I said I don't want to be walking around like I should be on Venice Beach or something. I said I just want to be a little bit stronger, you know, so I can hang with these guys when they're trying to go for takedowns and on top of me on the ground and that's all. So I want to keep everything the same. I think the only thing I want to change is the weight cut, and that's what I've done. So, you know.
You mentioned the main event on that card, Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal. How do you see that one going? And does having that fight as the main event light a fire in you even more to kind of steal the show?
Yeah, I think me and Kelvin will steal the show, but also, you know, Nate Diaz is a cardio king, but he doesn't possess the power I've got. So I don't know if Nate will knock Masvidal out, because I hit Masvidal with a stunning left hand. He said he was like sort of knocked out on the ground, but you know, he still survived. So I feel like that fight could be a 5-round war as well. So I feel like the co-main and the main both could be show stealers, but you know, obviously with the main event, that'll be the talk of the town. But as I said, listen, just to see my face up there, you know, I've got no negativity towards Masvidal at all. You know, if he's making millions, if he's doing, fair play to him. You know, since that fight we've had, he's only gone bigger, and I'm happy to have helped him with that. You know, even if it was what was the downside to me. But you know, I just can't wait to fight and then see them two fight. I'll be back in the green room watching them two fight as a fan of the fight game.
How important was it taking that time out after UFC London and not just jumping back in there purely to avenge a loss? I'm not saying the loss against Masvidal, but to get another win in the column.
I don't know. It was good. You know, I kept on training and robbed a few taxis and that. And you know, I just had time off from life. I just, you know, was still in the zone. I just wanted to find, people say, I just wanted to find what I wanted a bit more, you know, because obviously I was a bit off in training and that, you know, it's hard I haven't lost a fight since I was 16. I've been sort of like the top dog everywhere. No one's been able to beat me. And then to come from, you know, 2 losses on the big stage, it does hurt. So I just had to like step back a bit, and I think more when I get doubted and the challenge is bigger, that's what excites me. So when like it was lingering to be able to fight Kelvin, I think it fired me up more because of how many like people, I think like 90% of people are just doubting me, and that lights a fire in my belly. It sort of reminds me of when I fought Cowboy, you know. So it lit a little fire under my belly.